So this one's gonna be about how to not get distracted by critics and criticism and all this fucking shit. And as you might can hear, the old audio is back. Finally, I've actually turned on my phone today. Everything was working. This touchscreen again was working. I was pretty happy. Even though I just really I really thought I gotta buy myself a new one. I was just looking the past 2-3 days, quite all the fucking time, what should I buy myself if actually I'm just, quite forced to buy myself something new, to buy myself a new phone. But fortunately enough, I do not have to, because this is just a lot of money that I would unnecessarily had just thrown out of the window and just thrown away for something, because I should have been more cautious with how I'm actually using my phone, because it is actually a pretty important part of what I'm doing in my life. And therefore I should just totally take care of it. I shouldn't just, throw it away or something. I'm not doing this, I'm not on purpose throwing it away. Sometimes I'm just really just kind of hitting it, just really smacking it because, when I'm angry. But this is totally something that I do just have to work on. My anger and me just being very fucking just aggressive and whatsoever. But yeah, that's not the topic of today's video, but today's video is all about an article from the jamesclear.com website again, because I've actually enjoyed the last article so fucking much, and maybe I'm linking it there somewhere with a card or something. It's been a really, really great article. It really has been. It was about Martha Graham and her story, which was a pretty great story, and I'm expecting just something similar to this somehow as well. And yeah, let's actually get right into it. Thank you for not having a fucking window. By the way, please don't fucking complain. No? That's the right one. Yeah, that's the right one. I've actually been thinking about whether I should just kind of use the style of video that I've done yesterday for actually those article summary episodes, because so me it actually having somehow a face cam up in the right or left corner somewhere, and the whole screen will then be the fucking text. I don't know if this is good. I'm also just thinking about the mobile users, whether having just me bigger and the text also somehow bigger, if this is actually better than actually kind of me being smaller and the text being smaller somehow. I don't know. I really don't. But yeah, I'm pretty fucking pumped to go through this text, and I really hope that's gonna be a great one. And I do think it's gonna be a great one, but I shouldn't prime myself that much, because when it's not a great text, I should not be just unhappy or something like this. So yeah, actually this window is way too big. Thanks. Joseph Brodsky explains perfectly how to deal with critics and detractors in your life, by James Clear, with the text Grit, Life Lessons and Motivation. So this is actually, this article and also the other article that I was going through on the episode, I think today's Tuesday, I think on Sunday I've done it, but I don't remember. It was in the life lessons section, and if you just go to the jamesclear.com website there, and then you go to article, and then there are certain just categories or something, and then you just pick the life lessons, and there are all these great, I assume, great articles. But yeah, so in 1962. I'm sorry, a young man named Joseph met a woman named Marina. They lived in Russia together. They shared a passion for art. He wrote poetry and she created paintings. They fell in love and had a child together. It was shaping up to be a good life until one day in 1972 the Soviet officials came knocking at the door. They stormed Joseph's apartment, took him captive and tossed him on a plane to Vienna, and informed him that he was exiled from the Soviet Union. he never saw Marina again. Just, really fucking sad, I would say. Really fucking sad. But I do think he was actually writing poems the Soviet Union didn't like. So I guess this is actually, the reason. I'm actually looking forward if they actually pointed out what the exact reason was. But I guess it was, why should they? For sure, they were all about communism and whatsoever. But in the end, you just really have to be a dictator to somehow just start the communism. And still they hated some how do you say, some they hated all the enemies they had internally and externally, and so therefore I do assume that he was actually an enemy. No one knows if it was actually just right, if he actually was an enemy or not, but I do hope that they are picking out, something in the text and or pointing it out a little more. Anti-Soviet. You know what? I do really think that I just subconsciously read further, I guess. I think that I read ahead and then I just say something, because it happened so fucking often to me that I was saying something and talking about something, and then in the fucking end, it was actually the case. I was talking about something and then it came up in the article and or in the book summary just a little bit further, or a little bit, a little bit further actually in the text. And I think it's the exact same thing, but I do really think that I'm subconsciously reading fucking everything and then just talking about it. But anti-Soviet, so I guess he actually was anti-Soviet. So Joseph was Joseph Brodsky, the famous poet. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1987. His poetry, mostly written in Russian, was received favorably by pretty much everyone except the Soviet government. They claimed Brodsky's writing was anti-Soviet, and over the course of a decade he was slandered in the papers, pushed out of his job, and eventually exiled from the country. So I do think that his poems, weren't that in the favor of the Soviet Union. I think he wasn't just, talking about the Soviet Union in a good way. I at least assume. But who knows? Thanks to the help of some fellow poets, Brodsky was able to find refuge in the United States, and soon he had teaching positions at Yale, Cambridge, and the University of Michigan. In 1991, 19 years after being exiled from the Soviet Union, and what must have seemed like an entirely different lifetime, Brodsky was appointed the United States Poet Laureate. I don't know, it's Laureate, which is a person who is honored with an award for outstanding creative or intellectual achievement. Which is actually the same exact word in German. Pretty nice. Actually, what I'm doing here, I do think that it is not also or only helping me, because it does just really help me just on so much levels. Because it's really I'm learning new words, I learn how to speak English properly, I do just, also learn the pronunciations a little bit better. And I'm also learning to actually use English as a language, because I do just really have to kind of use all the words that I somehow know to somehow express what I'm thinking about and what I'm trying to talk about. And I do think this is just really contributing to me actually being able to speak English a little bit better, and on me just being more comfortable with speaking it actually. And also just I'm just learning new words also in German, because often when I'm translating them, they're actually the same fucking word in German as well. And this is also pretty nice, I'd say. It really is. I'm learning new words in English. I learn English. I learn just in general mindsets and business things and whatsoever. So I'm just really contributing my life with it. But I do also hope, and this is just the more important factor for me, that I'm also able to help some other people. Just some other people, because I do want to help people with what I'm doing here. I do not want to do it just for me. It's really not about me. And I do think it's going to make you more happy when you are doing something that is somehow dedicated to helping someone, because this is somehow a goal of yours, and or you can create a goal out of it. But yeah, let's see. Let's go on. So how to deal with your critics and detractors. Is it actually enough? Well, it is a pretty short one. I do hope that I'm not going to be just so fucking fast that I'm, just going through it just way too quickly. But yeah. So how to deal with your critics and detractors. In 1988, Brodsky delivered the commencement commencement, which is the beginning, start, starting point, opening. So Brodsky delivered the commencement, or whatever it is actually called, speech to students at the University of Michigan. The full speech is shared in Brodsky's book On Grief and Reason Essays. I think it shares a beautiful strategy and method for dealing with the critics, detractors, and negative influences in your life. And now this is just a quote of him, or this is actually, I think, the speech as such. Yeah, it is. So I'm now going to read the speech. I guess it's going to be a pretty great one. I'm just really thinking about whether I should stop during the speech to actually say what I'm thinking about, or actually afterwards. I just start reading. Try not to pay attention to those who will try to make life miserable for you. There will be a lot of those, in the official capacity as well as the self-appointed. Suffer them if you can't escape them, but once you have steered clear of them, give them the shortest shrift possible. Above all, try to avoid telling stories about the unjust treatment you received at their hands. Avoid it no matter how receptive your audience may be. Tales of this sort extend the existence of your antagonist. Most likely they are counting on your being talkative and relating your experience to others. By himself, no individual is worth an exercise in injustice, or for that matter, injustice. So injustice, not injustice like a full word, but injustice like in and then justice. The ratio of 1-to-1 doesn't justify the effort. It's the echo that counts. That's the main principle of any oppressor, whether state-sponsored or autodidact or deduct. Therefore, steal or still the echo so that you don't allow an event, however unpleasant or momentous, to claim any more time than it took for it to occur. What your foes do derives its significance on consequences from the way you react. Therefore, rush through or pass them as though they were yellow and not red lights. Don't linger on them mentally or verbally. Don't pride yourself on forgiving or forgetting them. Worst come to worst, do the forgetting first. This way, you'll spare your brain cells a lot of useless agitation. This way, perhaps you may even save those pigheads from themselves, since the prospect of being forgotten is shorter than that of being forgiven. So flip the channel. You can't put this network out of circulation, but at least you can reduce its ratings. Now, this solution is not likely to please angels, but then again, it's bound to hurt demons, and for the moment, that's all that really matters. From Joseph Brodsky, On Grief and Reason, an essay. So it actually was, I guess, the speech he was holding for the Michigan students at the beginning of school. I think I'm gonna go through it because I'm just having so much fucking time and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna through this one, and I think I'm gonna just talk about the things that I think are just necessary to talk about. But yeah, so try not to pay attention to those who will try to make life miserable for you, which is actually a really, really great advice, I would say, and it's definitely the truth. And by saying there will be a lot of those, he is also, I think, right, because there are actually a lot of people who only see the negative, whether it be in situations, whether it be in people, and they're also going to share all the negative stuff with you. So yeah, unfortunately. So in the official capacity as well as the self-appointed. By the self-appointed, I do think that, I don't know, like, what does this actually mean? I do think maybe he's saying that you shouldn't also try to take you down or yourself, or to just really be like, really be like the other people that are trying to bring you down. You shouldn't be the same case, or you shouldn't be the same way to yourself. I do think that he's pointing out this, but I'm actually not sure. I'm really not sure. I think actually not, but I think it's actually, still pretty important to say that you should also just really monitor what you are thinking about, and what your thoughts are, whether they are actually self-destructive or not, whether you are hurting yourself or not. Because actually, I think often we are. Often we really are hurting ourselves by the things that we are thinking, and what we think is what we are going to say, and so on and so on. So I do not know from whom it actually is, but what we think is what we say, and what we say is what we do, and what we do is what our life is going to look like. Which is actually the truth. And if you really think like, or if it is really the case, which, I don't really know, then actually by saying like, okay, I'm ugly, I'm just not good at this, or not, I'm just really, saying like I'm not good at something is totally fine. But I think it's totally something different to say like, I'm a total piece of shit. I'm really not capable of doing this and that. Might be the truth, or you might be overreacting. Like, I think monitoring and just really, really monitoring what you're thinking about is also very important, and I'm also just really trying to keep attention to it, what I'm thinking, and I'm really trying to really suppress every single thought that is somehow against me, or that is somehow self-destructive, or that's somehow bringing me down. But yeah, let's go on. Suffer them if you can't escape them. But once you have steered clear of them, give them the shortest shrift possible. I guess it is shrift. It is SHRIFT, which is confession, especially to a priest. Go to shrift. See also short shrift, absolution by a priest, or Old English, shrift penance imposed after confession, from Schweif, which with an V actually. Or in German, it actually means something like dealing with this person pretty quickly. Like, just trying to get them away and something. Yeah. I think this was just the worst fucking translation I could have given you. But yeah. So I think it's actually true. Once you're capable of actually not hearing these people and not giving any attention to these fucking people, I guess your life's gonna be not about suffering. And I do think that you should not deal with those people. Even though I do think that really cutting out people is something that's incredibly difficult. I really do think that it really is difficult. And so therefore, I really liked what Gary Vee once said, which is that you should actually not necessarily have to cut out people, but you should just, reduce the time you're spending with them. And I guess it's pretty good advice. And I think this is also pretty good just strategy to go around cutting people. Like, especially with family, sometimes I do think it's not going to be that easy. Above all, try to avoid telling stories about the unjust treatment you received at their hands. Avoid it no matter how receptive your audience may be. What does receptive mean? Open-minded. Well, I'm just really trying to see what he's saying there. I would totally say so, but I do not know why. I can't give you a reason why I would say so. But I really truly think that it is just somehow important. And also what he was saying afterwards, which was, tales of this sort extend the existence of your antagonist. Yeah, it totally makes sense. The more you talk about it, the more is being talked about him, if it is a singular person. And I guess you can really translate it into really bigger just ratios. To just a really bigger scale. Like, I don't know, I guess if nobody was speaking about Hitler, I think he would not have been such a big person. Like, I do really think that the attention these people are getting, and also the kind of just, the fire, it's like really pushing just really clean oxygen into a fucking fire. It's gonna just really rise, and if there's no oxygen, the fire won't rise. Actually a pretty nice kind of phrase. I think I gotta just really keep that. But I think it just makes sense. By himself, no individual is worth an exercise in injustice, or for that matter, injustice. So the ratio of 1-to-1 doesn't justify the effort. It's the echo that counts. That's the main principle of any oppressor. Tyrant, despot. So the ratio of 1-to-1 doesn't justify the effort. It's the echo that counts. So that's the main principle of any oppressor, whether state-sponsored or autodidact, which is actually self-taught. Therefore, steal or still. The echo so that you don't allow an event, however unpleasant or momentous, to claim any more time than it took for it to occur. Actually makes sense. Like, something happened and you do not unnecessarily have to kind of stretch the whole time everybody's talking about, or that this thing is in other people's minds. This is just what I'm feeling like. What your foes, which is something I don't know, these horsemen were all farmed foe, enemy, adversary, opponent. Have I just... never mind. So what your foes do derives its significance, which is... So what your foes do derives its significance or consequences from the way you react. Definitely true, and I think this is definitely common sense. If you do have a bully in school and you're just really getting pissed by every word he's saying, it's gonna make him feel pretty fucking good, because I do think this is just what they want. They just want their reaction, and this is basically what he is saying as well. Its significance or consequences from the way you react. Therefore, rush through or past them as though they were yellow and not red lights. Don't linger on them mentally or verbally. Don't pride yourself on forgiving or forgetting them. I do also think if you're really like, something that I do, like if I'm just, receiving a test again or an exam again after the teacher has corrected it, no matter what, no matter if it is actually a good test or a bad test, I'm really not trying to actually show it to my parents or something, School in my family has always been just quite somehow important, but I'm really trying to not only show them good grades or good marks that I've received. When I'm showing them the good marks, then I'm also automatically or willing to actually show them the bad marks. I do not want to be like, okay, I'm only going to show them my good marks, so therefore I'm just, they're thinking like I'm a good person or I'm good in school or whatsoever, and I'm going to hide all the bad things that I've did or whatsoever, because I do not want to say anything about the bad things, because, punishment and something. I'm also just, I'm also just not talking about the good things. If they ask me, I will totally tell them, but I will, also tell them what I've done that wasn't that good. So worse come to worse. Do the forgetting first. This way you will spare your brain cells a lot of useless agitation. This way perhaps you may even save the pigheads from themselves, since the prospects of being forgotten is shorter than that of being forgiven. Well, makes sense. So flip the channel. You can't put this network out of circulation, but at least you can reduce its ratings. Now, this solution is not likely to please angels, but then again, it's bound to hurt demons, and for the moment, that's all that really matters. Actually, a pretty great one, I would say. And actually, let's just move on. It's the echo that counts, which is quote-unquote, the impact of negativity is magnified, or which is actually cited, or I know it's quoted, but it's actually called citist or something, I don't know. So the impact of negativity is magnified when we talk about it. No matter what we say, we breathe life into poor decisions, bad ideas, and evil people by discussing them over and over again. You wouldn't want to waste all of your meals on junk food. Yeah, that's totally true. So why waste your thoughts on junk ideas and your energy on junk people? The best thing that can happen to bad advice is that it becomes irrelevant, ignored, and forgotten. In the words of Brodsky, it's the echo that counts. Negativity doesn't deserve a louder voice. Spend your time echoing something worth hearing. Yeah, and I think I could also apply this to what I'm doing right here. If I'm actually seeing like it is a book that I wouldn't say is good, then I'm not going to talk about it, because the echo might be just really loud, and this wouldn't be nice. I'm not really willing to spread things, that are just shit. Like, why? But yeah. Oh, gotta sneeze. Is it sneeze? I think it is actually sneeze. Wait. Oh, sorry. I think it's actually, it is sneezing. This is actually one of the words that I've always kind of been looking for, or often been looking for, and I never ever kind of remember it, unfortunately. But this was actually the end of this summary. So the footnote, I'm going to read the footnote. So thanks to Maria Popova of Brain Pickings for originally sharing Brodsky's quote. Pretty fucking great. Thanks for reading, you helped save a life. Whenever you buy one of my books, join the Habits Academy or otherwise contribute to my work, 5% of the profits are donated to the Against Malaria Foundation, which is the AMF. In fact, thanks to our advertising partners, even a simple act like reading another article helps us contribute more. With each donation, AMF distributes nets to protect children, pregnant mothers, and families from mosquitoes. Carrying malaria is one of the most cost-effective ways to extend life and fulfills my bigger mission to spread healthy habits and help others realize their potential. So it is one of the most cost-effective ways to extend life and fulfills my bigger mission. Actually, I've been looking up a few charity. So here's the logo. You can also read it if you want. I'm just letting it be there for a little bit. I've also been looking for some charities that I could donate to, which is actually pretty tough, because there's a lot going into it, not actually me having the money that I want to share, but also the organization as such, because often they only kind of use 50% of what you're donating to them for actually the thing you're donated to, that you're donated to, and the other 50% is basically their operation. I do not want that, and I think that's not that good. So, a website that I have been discovering, I think, is GiveWell. Is it GiveWell? Yeah, givewell.org. I'm gonna show it you pretty quickly. I hope that's it is. So this is GiveWell. I'm very sorry. Can I please? Does this make any fucking difference? No, it doesn't. Thanks. There, you have it. GiveWell. It's givewell.com or org or something. I can't actually see the domain right now. I'm sorry, but this is actually an organization that do test charities, and actually the AMF, the Anti-Malaria Foundation, or Against Malaria Foundation, is one of the charity organizations that they actually say is good. They're not saying that the project is good. They are literally only saying that the organization is just acting well, or is acting right, so that there is the proper transparency and all these things. And I do really think, because also one of the Austrian newspapers, which is actually a good newspaper, said that you should also give a look or have a look on this website. And I do think, also because it was actually founded by, I think, a few millionaires that actually just were pissed off by the fact that you couldn't find any good charities just relatively quickly. And therefore they founded it, because they wanted to provide some people and or the other people to actually be able to give something to charity effectively. You know what they are talking about in this section. I'm actually going to read it. So GiveWell was founded to answer the following question: how do I do the most good with my donation? It's a hard question to answer. We think it's a full-time job. Over time, we've developed criteria and process for identifying the charities we believe do the most good in terms of lives saved or improved for every dollar donated. For every dollar donated. Below, we share our general principles for giving effectively, as well as how GiveWell applies those principles to find its top charities. So the key principles we recommend you keep in mind when deciding where to give: your donation can change someone's life, and the wrong donation can accomplish nothing, and your dollar goes further overseas. And they also share the criteria they have there and whatsoever. You know, I'm really hoping this episode's gonna somehow blow up or something. Would just really be nice if somebody or some people actually, donate there something. The actual good thing about them is that if you click on the donate button, I was also willing to donate, but my debit card wasn't working somehow. I'm just having to figure it out how I'm gonna do this. So you could just give your money to GiveWell, and they are gonna decide how to spend it. This is, what I'm thinking, or I guess they do. So let GiveWell direct your donation. So I do think it is. The minimum of amount of money you have to give them or donate is $5, which are actually 4.7 euros or something. But you can also just use your bank directly. You can also decide whether it's monthly or every quarter. You can also give them your information so that the people you're receiving your donation actually somehow can contact you and whatsoever. So it's actually pretty great. It really is great. You can donate by check, bank transfer, securities, or stocks. Actually, pretty nice. And or cryptocurrency. And you can also donate via PayPal. Would actually be great. The only thing that I'm seeing there is that I'm just having to pay fees, which is not that good. But if I'm not fucking able to do it with my bank, I'm just really having to, But it would be fucked up, because I do just want to donate the money and do just not want to give it to PayPal, even though their service is really great. Will my donation be tax deductible? Giveaway, aka the Clear Fund, is a federally recognized tax accept. So US donors are able to take tax reductions or deductions from donations to GiveWell to the extent permitted by US tax laws. In addition, GiveWell is able to make grants to our recommended charities. Please note that donations to GiveWell are irrevocable, and donor requests to grant donations to our recommended charities are subject to your or our approval. More details on GiveWell's approval process. So when does GiveWell grant funds it has collected to charities? We currently plan to make grants to charities approximately quarterly. We may alter this schedule in the future. But what you also can do, because it is not only about GiveWell as an organization, but you can also just have a look at, top charities, which actually shows all the charities that they somehow suggest you should be using. But they're saying we recommend that donors give to GiveWell for making grants to top charities at our discretion, so that we can put the funds towards the highest priority needs for our top charities. But you can also go direct. Our charity or top charities are evidence-backed, thoroughly vetted, underfunded organizations. We recommend charities according to how good additional donations can do. For more information, see this post on the GiveWell blog. So malaria, there is actually a lot of deworming organizations and malaria organizations. I didn't know that, and I at first actually was a little bit disappointed, because there was nothing and also Sightsaver. supporting deworming programs in low-income countries. So I do think that deworming is actually, and malaria, actually the things that are actually pretty heavily kind of affecting your life. So standout charities are organizations that support programs that may be extremely cost-effective and are evidence-backed. We do not feel as confident in the impact of those organizations as we do in our top charities. However, we have reviewed their work and feel these groups stand out from the vast majority of organizations. Let's actually have a list on their standout charities. So Development Media International, Evidence Actions Dispensers for Safe Water, Food Fortification Initiative, the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, Chew, and a lot of other ones. So I do hope that you might donate something. The thing is, a lot of people are talking about, if I would be a millionaire, I would just donate so much fucking whatever. They wouldn't, because if you just, wouldn't donate right now, like 10% of your whole kind of wealth, which wouldn't be that much, or even 5%, why would you then just spend 5% of your millions? Let's actually see. Which would be 50,000, I guess. I'm not really sure, not that a maths guy. Yeah, it should be 50,000. But yeah, I still wish you the best health, welfare, business, and success. I do hope that you've enjoyed this whole episode. And I do hope that I'm actually suggesting something that's good. But I do think that GiveWell is actually good. I really hope. So just take it with a grain of salt. I do not actually know. I think this is actually one of the platforms that I'm going to donate to. But yeah, I hope that it is good. I don't know. I've just done a little bit of research. But I wish you the best health, happiness, and success. I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you're also gonna think about your legacy. So how you're gonna be remembered. Whether you are going to be remembered as a good person or as a bad person. You basically decide.